Hi guys, Catmaster here, and today I want to give you a quick update of how my day 2 and 3 and 4 went basically in this league. I already made a quick video about my day 1 2 days ago, logically speaking, but there has been some upgrades. We actually made it to level 90. I found the anvil, I found the soul tether. I'm still using the same weapon that I had originally. We found an insane shield that has a lot of block that is still to be replaced by a life gain on block shield. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the build. And I just completed blighted maps that I found. And I have an opalescent oil, a crimson and an amber. I also had some others, but the opalescent was really what I was chasing because I need that. That's the highest value for command of steel. Now, because we're using an insane shield that does not only have the explicit 6% chance to block, but it also has a prefix hybrid between increased armor and 3% chance to block. This shield actually has 34% chance to block. So even while unbuffed, I'm at 75% chance to block. My block cap is actually raised to 78 because of the anvil. And now we're going to anoint Command of Steel with Sister Cassia over here. Right, so we put the amulet in here and these three, and then we get Command of Steel, which not only gives me increased damage per percent chance to block attack damage, so that's 78% free damage, but also we get the missing 3% chance to block attack damage while holding a shield, to currently at least be capped at 78 without any situational buffs. My situational buffs would be Tempest Shield, which I run on a cast when damage taken setup, which gives me 3% chance to block attack damage. And the other one would be Pain Forged from the Duelist Ascendancy Gladiator. Pain Forged gives you 8% chance to block attack damage if you're damaged by a hit recently. Now obviously in boss fights you don't always want to be hit every 4 seconds. Recently refers to the past 4 seconds. So it's really good if you get to your cap without this. But Tempest Shield is something that I can expect to be up most of the time because it's on cast when damage taken and it lasts 12 seconds and it actually refreshes its duration whenever you block. So you need to block one hit in 12 seconds and it will always be up. So it's going to be fine if we lose a little bit of block chance when we replace this shield with an actually good shield. An actually good shield, what do I mean by that? It is a shield on either a Warlord's base or a Shaper base that comes with the explicit suffix mod recover X% of life on block. And that rolls up to 5%. Now getting 5% off life back when you block is really huge, especially if you're a full block character that maxes out its block. And we already get 75 flat from the anvil. Actually, the previous shield I was using also had some, wait, where was it? Here, the previous shield I was using also had some flat life gain on block. So I did have around 2% life gain on block, but obviously 5% is much stronger. Also currently hunting, of course, for a 6-link Astral, which would be perfect with Hunter influence, because Hunter or Elder influence can roll increased maximum life, so you get a large flat and a large increase. And another influenced item that would be a big upgrade would be a Hunter Axe. Bullshit, Hunter, not Hunter. What's the one? Elder Axe. You need an Elder Axe, item level 83. So an axe with Elder influence could be either a siege axe like this, which is the fastest base, but ideally you want something like a, I think a Karui axe or a Royal axe, because those have higher rolls at the cost of attack speed. So they have a higher average hit, but they attack a little bit slower. But attack speed doesn't matter as much in a bleed build as it does in a pure, hit DPS build, because I can only apply 1 bleed to every enemy, because I don't have Crimson Dance, and getting Crimson Dance is not worth it because it comes with a downside of 50% less damage with bleeding. And then you can inflict up to 8 bleeds, right? But that's something that you do in fast attacking builds, where you can stack up those 8 bleeds really quickly. You can't do that with Earthquake. The way that the build works, and this is something I didn't really explain in the first video, so I'm going to link this video in the first video that I made for this, is Earthquake slams the ground leaves a fissure, and then an aftershock comes up shortly after that deals massive damage. The aftershock actually has, as you can see up here, the aftershock actually has a huge damage multiplier here. Ancestrally boosted slams deal 100% more damage with ailments up there, actually the first line. I don't know why it's ordered in that weird way, but that's pretty huge. Now, oh wait, actually that's bullshit. Here, Aftershock deals 150% more damage with hits and ailments, and then we support it with the Fist of War, which gives the ancestral boost. That's what I was talking about, where you get 100% more damage with ailments. Now, this can only buff every attack once every 1.8 seconds, and also massively increases the AoE. You see that ancestral spirit that comes out of me when I attack, right? The guy that comes up. And that's the reason this is so big, and also does a lot of damage. Now, the perfect combo for the boss using the war cries, we're using Seismic Cry, which actually exerts attacks. Okay, wait, my overlay is all the way in the way. But Seismic Cry exerts 5 attacks with the +1, a base amount of 4, but with Measured Fury, which we do have in the tree, it exerts 5 attacks. And every exerted attack deals more damage per previous attack exerted by the exact same war cry. So that's why getting an additional exert is really good, because obviously instead of having 3 previously exerted attacks, you get 4 previously exerted attacks by the war cry. So while clearing, you generally weave the war cries in wherever you see fit, right? You do a slam, you do a war cry, you do a slam, you do a war cry. But when you're walking up to a boss, what you want to do is you want to Seismic Cry, and you want to interrupt 2 attacks, and then you want to Intimidating Cry and interrupt another 2 attacks, while assuming that the boss is already bleeding. I didn't interrupt that one. But you can always interrupt by initiating the attack and then issuing a move command again. And then this is the biggest hit that you can have when both of these counters are on 1. Actually, for Intimidating Cry, it doesn't matter where the counter is, so you could also cry Intimidating Cry again. But the Seismic Cry counter should be on 1, and obviously the enemy should be already bleeding, because I think you have this, somewhere is a passive that we have that has increased damage against bleeding enemies. Okay, now that's attack damage. Never mind, enemy doesn't have to be bleeding. Thought there was something where you... There, 30% increased damage with hits and ailments against bleeding enemies. So this is really important to note, is that attack damage, melee damage, area damage, all of those will not affect your bleed damage, because the bleed is ailment damage, and the aforementioned mods, as far as I know, only affect the hit. So that's something to keep in mind when building or when selecting which mods to pick for the build. But overall, I'm pretty happy, especially now with that. Wait. Quick conclusion. Boss combo. 5, interrupt 2, use that, interrupt 2 more, and then go up to the boss. Have him cursed, obviously, with vulnerability for maximum deeps. And this. There's another thing that you can do, and that is weapon swapping. If you do have a Quill Rain, or just a fast attacking bow, you can use Ensnaring Arrow, which puts a debuff on the enemy that makes them slower, but also makes them, even when they're standing still, count as moving. And obviously moving enemies take more damage from the bleeds on them. So that's something that you can do, that I decided not to do this time around, because last time I did it, I died a horrible death while weapon swapping, because when you weapon swap, obviously you don't have a shield anymore. Now we can use the block quiver, but that one does obviously not have as much block as the shield, and the block passives that you're speccing into in the tree only have block attack damage while holding a shield. So enjoy that with care. Like in softcore, obviously 100%, I would do the weapon swap, but having done it in hardcore, I'd be very, very careful with it. I might implement the setup in the end, but for now, I felt that the bleed damage is good. The next upgrade, like I said, would be the axe with an Elder influence, at least item level 83 in order to spawn the Elder prefix mod that bleeds have a 60s, wait, what was it? I don't know how exactly it's phrased, but it's a 60% chance that your bleed deals 100% more damage, which is really, really nice. It occupies a prefix slot, so you can't get as many increased physical and flat physical modifiers, but it's really, really worth. And that's basically the chase that we're after. I think this video is already pretty long. That's just some things I wanted to get out, right? Wanted to explain. I'm quickly gonna go over the upgrades that we made. So Anvil, I already explained, is really good because it raises your cap and it gives block attack damage. It's not the super duper endgame item, but for now it is a really good band-aid for my block and also allows me to make a block much more consistent, because the difference between having 75% block and having 78% block is massive. It's really big because it's like 12% more block between those two. And or 12% less hits not blocked, I'd say. Soul Tether. Soul Tether is something I haven't mentioned yet. Soul Tether is the belt that gives you Immortal Ambition, which makes your energy shield start at 0 and disables recharge and regeneration for your energy shield. It also on top makes you lose 5% of your energy shield per second, but it also says life leech effects are not removed at full life. So getting the life leech that you get from your build, you actually have the life leech not stop at your max life. Now normally, the way that life leech works in Path of Exile, I don't want to get too deep into leech mechanics, but each life leech instance can recover up to 2% of your max life, if I recall correctly, per second, and it caps out at a total of 20% total maximum recovery per second from life leech, which can obviously be scaled with increased maximum total recovery per second from life leech, but 20 is where it caps out, and in order to get there you need to ramp it up, and it always ends at full life. So meaning that if you're leeching and then it ends and then you take damage, your leech first needs to come from an attack that you do after you took damage. But with Soul Tether, you can keep on leeching all the time. I'm quickly gonna roll a map because people love to see gameplay in these videos, right? So we're going to throw in an academy here. Red tier map. I feel the build is ready. Despite the fact we don't have our ultimate endgame weapon upgrade, the build is quite ready now for endgame in terms of damage, because we actually got the Uberlap today. I was hunting the Trial of Lingering Pain for way too long, but now we got Gratuitous Violence, and that gives me 20% more damage with bleeding, which is a significant bonus, right? Multiplying all my bleed damage by 1.2. And then it also makes bleeding enemies I kill explode. And now, because bleeding is the only condition, this is pretty much guaranteed. So all enemies explode, dealing 10% of their max life as physical damage, and that physical damage is then scaled by physical damage generic scaling that you may have somewhere, although we don't have any of that. But I'm just saying that those explosions are still your damage, so they're pretty good. Just wait, I didn't read that map. Double Boss Academy. Academy is the... yeah, that's okay. Do we do the Maven thing in here? Ah, why not? So we go in here. And I'll just show you a little bit of gameplay before we end the video. Right, there's a Delirium. That's perfect for the video. I can show you that the clear is massively good now that we got the explosions, obviously. We got Droxy Baby in here. But again, you don't need to perfectly combo your war cries for the clear. That's just something that you need to do for the best single target damage. As you can see, as long as I do a war cry every couple of packs, we're completely fine. And obviously you can imagine that 78% block, other than degenerations and very, very big hits, pretty much nothing is dangerous for this build anymore. Now, of course, you could be extremely unlucky, which is why I would never recommend to look at this build as something that can face tank. You still want to mechanically dodge things and avoid taking damage, but whenever you do end up taking hits, a lot of them are blocked and it's not as dangerous as you would think. Now, of course, I messed up the pathing. I don't think there's an optimal way to path this with Delirium, and I don't want to do the boss under Delirium influence quite yet, because it's a double boss with the Maven watching. But just to quickly go in there and see how the single target is, keep in mind that we weren't running all our auras while we're doing this map, because I'm slightly retarded. Oh, that's the R word. I don't say that on YouTube. Never mind. I'm stupid. But we go in here. And as you can see, I interrupt my attacks a little bit in order to get the counter down faster. And they die relatively fast regardless. And we get Alliance Roar, which would be great if we were hit-based, but since we're damage over time, it's kind of a waste. But anyway, it's a pretty neat build. I would recommend specifically for new players looking to check out the new content that they don't know, because it's very, very resilient. And it will be even more tanky once we get the life gain on Block Shield. If there's any questions that are still open, please refer to my character Maven Gay on the account Catmaster. I'll leave a path of building down below, so you can import the character into your path of building even if you don't want to type the character name and the account name. But yeah, if there's anything else, leave it in the comments down below. Join the Discord, where there's always helpful people answering PoE questions. And last but not least, of course, I stream almost every day at twitch.tv/catmasterOP, where we're currently progressing the Atlas. I'll probably make another video about these little trees and about the new progression with the Maven fights. But that would obviously burst the scope of this little video. So hey, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.